fly them, we fund them, we pray for them, we equip them. That means teach them
right.
the message.
But you personally would not engage a Jehovah's Witness, even though you think they're going to go to hell if you don't save them. Is that correct?
We do global missions.
But if a Jehovah's Witness came to your door, you would not engage them? You would let them run off and just burn in hell, and according to your doctrine, and that wouldn't bother you at all?
We try, but what I mean is, at my church, we all have the same beliefs.
Sure. That's why you're a denomination or a non-denominational group.
So we don't do this sort of thing very much. We don't usually have debates at my church.
Not within the church, I understand, but it seems like you would
try.
I mean, when I was a fundamentalist Christian, I was proselytizing as much as I could to anybody that would listen.
I have to throw out Matt's favorite verse because he would want to
1 Peter
if he was here.
3:15,
1 Peter 3:15 says, "In your hearts acknowledge Christ as the Holy Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have." So, I mean, it seems to me that if you wanted to follow the Bible religiously, so to speak, you would want to go out and engage people and tell them the reasons that you think.
We do that a lot. What I mean is, I fund these things. I don't actually do them. I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect. And I don't always have the confidence to preach, to convert people myself. But the church funds it, so I pay for this.
So he sees this as sort of like a group command.
Can I ask you, what is your role in the church? I mean, I've actually been personally curious because you've called 3 times now, and I'm not sure if you're like in a leadership position or if you're sort of a one of these other.
No, it's a member of the church. I'm not a preacher or.
What's your relation? What's your relation to these kids who are becoming fans, to your chagrin? How well do you know them? Your friend's kids.
He's a member in the church, and this is the church's children.
Have you talked to the kids yourself and see what they say? I mean,
well, they watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
They're watching
the videos. Someone sent them the videos on YouTube, and they watched them.
Have they seen the other videos where you called?
Yeah, they're watching right now.
Oh,
okay,
hi,
well,
kids.
Good. Yeah, shout out.
They always tell me, they say, sometimes they don't, when we talk to them, they're how do I say this? They're really proud of Matt. They think Matt will answer the question. So maybe they don't. We ask them about evolution. They say, well, ask Matt, he'll tell you. Call in, ask Matt, he'll tell you. Or they show us a video when Matt tells them. But we want... So they just use Matt. They don't think for themselves.
For the record, since I'm in a position now to give a message to those kids, I think that you should actually go and study the science and not rely on an authority figure.
Absolutely, I agree.
Because you should study the scientific evidence and figure it out for yourself, and you should seriously consider the sermons coming out of your church. And figure out, if you think they don't make sense, maybe you should engage Mark in a conversation and tell him what you think of them, not what Matt thinks of them.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And Mark, let me just say that on this, I think Russell's right on. And if this is your concern, I would agree with you. I don't think that the kids, even though children I do think require leadership, I would never want a child to be replacing blind faith in one thing for blind faith in another.
Especially not Matt.
So I don't think that anybody should be watching our show and just simply believing everything that comes out of Matt's mouth or any one of the co-hosts or anybody on this program. My goal, and I've told people this a lot, they'll say something about why do you want people to follow you? And I say, I don't ever want anyone to follow me. That's not my goal. I want them to think for themselves and to figure this out. That's definitely the goal. And so on that, I think we're all 3 agreed.
Yeah, and don't believe what I say.
I don't think that they should be punished so harshly. I think they should be allowed to watch the videos, but other parents are pretty strict, and they grounded their kids and don't let their kids go on the internet to watch these videos because they're scared. They think Jesus should be their hero, not Matt.
Well, if I can offer some constructive criticism as a parent, I think that is probably, if they're really worried about their kids coming back to their side, that's probably the worst thing they could do. I mean, I'm not gonna offer suggestions about how they can come back to Christianity because obviously I don't care. But I think that if I treated my kid that way, if I said, you may not watch this, you may not go on the internet, you may not listen to these atheists, the first reaction a teenager would have is, what are they hiding?
Well, some churches don't even let their kids read Harry Potter.
Yeah, and I think that's equally as absurd.
I think that's too strict.
Right.
I think that we might agree, Matt. Mark, since you're saying that you're not sure that they shouldn't be allowed to watch the program, I always think that a better alternative, especially if the parents have good reasons for what they believe, it seems like this would be an opportunity for them to allow the children to watch the program, perhaps watch it with them, and then explain to the kids where the reasoning is incorrect or where the evidence is, pointing somewhere different than where someone here might be saying it. And so they could actually engage their children in a conversation, explain why they're right and why this program is incorrect, and that way rebut the show there with the children. And it almost makes me wonder and I understand this isn't all the parents in your congregation, it's just some of them, but it makes me wonder if those parents might not have raised children by modeling just blind faith and following without questioning, because it seems like the kids definitely have that attitude according to what you're describing. And it sounds like if the parents had good reasons for what they believed, they wouldn't be threatened by someone telling their kids something incorrect, because then they would be able to point out the errors in what's being said and demonstrate to the children that in fact what they're saying as the parent is correct.
You're right, but you're naive because they'll never watch the videos with the kids.
Well, then it sounds to me like
I
the
agree
people
with
you
you
should
that they
be talking
won't.
to are the parents and not the kids or us.
Yeah, I agree with you that they won't. I just think that's a bad parental policy, and it makes me wonder if the parents themselves aren't responsible for their children's attitude of just believing whatever someone says, because it sounds like these parents themselves don't have good reasons for what they believe, or they'd be able to offer that to their kids and not be threatened by someone telling their children something different.
Maybe you should convince the pastors in your church to do some sermons about effective parenting strategies and engaging with what your kids are involved with instead of burying their heads in the sand.
Yeah, I guess you went to church, so you know that it's not a debate society.
Correct. But you also understand, I understand that it's not a debate society for the parents, but when you're raising the children and they're trying to make determinations, there definitely has to be discussion. I mean, those children are not members yet, I'm assuming, or some of them might be wavering. It seems like at the point that you have young people who are making decisions about whether or not to join the church and become a member, that it would require some discussion at that point with the children. I mean, I understand that the adult members who have joined are all in agreement, but clearly the kids who are being raised are being encouraged to join, but many of them probably have not yet.
Well, you see, my church believes that if your kid leaves the church, that's really bad.
Well, no, I understand what you believe on that. I do get it. But what I'm saying is that just means to me, when you said the church group itself is not a debate society, believe me, I understand that the preacher's not going to get up there and give a sermon to convince people a God exists, because everybody at your church already accepts that. But
they would sooner disown their kids, kick them out of the house, than sit and watch the atheist experience.
It seems to me that that's what's probably going to wind up happening.
Yeah, I think those
nobody's
children are going to have the worst time of it.
I wonder, how come none of these kids have called up yet?
Some of them have.
Yeah, they might have.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are out in the audience,
emailed.
If you guys are out in the audience, you should call and let us know that you're a member of Mark's church, so that we can get your perspective on this.
Except I would just want to put a word in. Don't do that if you think you're going to suffer any kind of parental repercussions.
Yeah, sure.
After what Mark just said about some parents might rather disown you, I don't want you calling up and having your voice recognized and get you into trouble.
Right.
So don't call unless you think that it's okay, with your parents, or that it's not going to cause a problem for you.
Yeah, but I mean,